Let's go! It's time! Cincinnati, we gon' rise and up. In the jungle, we unite and up. Trippin' orange and black and white. Whole day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who got 'em, who rockin' on? Now who wanna move, tossing on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes, then you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got 'em, yeah, we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em. Single bottle, never stop it. To the beastin' on 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes? Flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen. We gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in the...
Welcome to another episode of Bengals and Brews. I am Dell Allman, joined by, my actual co-hosts for once this week, Joe and Derek, and our special guest tonight are the Super Goodberry brothers. Dun, 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 dun.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, guys?
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Yeah, you can only do like 3 dudes before you get copyrighted. Is that the rules?
Yeah, that was it. Doop. But do you need more than that?
So,
No.
so the rule's 3 dudes makes you what?
3
Or
dudes.
is it? I thought it was just one.
Hey, it's not gay if it's in 3-way. Number 1. That's always rule number 1.
As
Wasn't
long as
you singing
one
that the
of
other day?
3 is a female.
No.
Well,
Up for debate.
Today's topic. They did not specify, did they?
Said not gay in a 3-way, so
That's the only part you took out of that, huh?
that's
2
all I
minutes.
got, brother.
2 minutes.
We
is
couldn't
all
make it.
took. All it took.
We're just
all
waiting
it
for
took.
people to get in.
And that includes the intro.
Oh, this is like the Pick Six podcast. They spend about 15 minutes talking nonsense, and then they, dive into the real stuff.
Oh yeah, it's like that, except we spend the whole time talking.
Yeah,
about
well,
nonsense.
yeah, that's true. We don't talk about anything.
It's not super gay. It's a little
Medium?
It's a 5-way.
Listen,
Like
Will,
Super Mario, we got a whole theme this week.
SmackDown ain't got nothing on us.
What if it's same question? What if it's 3 dudes? Not as gay as Derek's mustache.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
That is very.
One of these days I'll shave. I'm just too lazy.
Yeah,
Let's-
yeah. Joe has many rooms.
No, this is the game room. What you normally see is the office, but I like half took it apart, and so it's not. I was like, I'll just sit out in the game room.
Since Joe started doing subscriptions, he bought a 10-room house.
Yeah.
I was going to make the joke, but you beat me
The,
to
gr- the gray room,
What's up,
or the
buddy?
red room. That's right.
Yeah.
0 millions went to like little less than 0 millions.
He went to-
How's that going? How's that going, Joe?
Still closer to 0 millions than 1 million.
Yes,
so,
yes.
If you put it on a spectrum, still very close to 0.
It's very
but,
close to the 0.
But it's been 2.5 weeks, and we should be crossing 550 subscribers, which I am very happy to see and thankful for everyone that has done that. If you're not subscribed, you're missing some player evaluation, some film breakdowns, some data, some nice long threads, and maybe some Twitter spaces where I get on and shoot the shit with you guys for an hour and a half a week or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll admit
Congrats
I haven't
on all that.
subscribed yet, but I haven't had a chance to do really anything.
Come
I
on,
just-
Derek.
The value is
Derek,
going
you
to
can
come
stop-
during the season, so you're
You can
good.
stop paying
Yeah.
for the blue check mark for Bengals and Brews. Subscribe for us.
Subscribe to some real content, unlike
Joe's
Bengals and Brews.
content, Yeah.
Yeah. What are your plans during the season for subs, Joe?
Yeah, so I've got some fun stuff coming up in terms of content. You're going to get scouting reports on every veteran player on the roster during the summer. It's going to be almost like a book, if you will, but digitally. You'll get that before this season kicks off. But during the season, it's going to be a lot of stuff on Twitter with Twitter Spaces is also. Sunday mornings, as we're getting amped up for the game, you'll be in there. Afterwards, we'll have reactions, podcasts and stuff I record, thoughts on the games, upcoming games, opponents, yada, yada. All the things I've pretty much done in the past, whether that's written work, data collection, film stuff, podcasting, but you're going to get it all again. So if you liked it before, you're going to get it.
How many special appearances do we get from Glenn?
I'm actually a subscriber out of support for my brother. He didn't ask
What a
for
guy.
it, but I know I can jump in and give my 2 cents. Even though, I'm a Bills fan, I still follow the Bengals pretty closely. So you get a little bit of, the Goodberry variant sprinkled in there too, either talking shit, maybe adding a little bit of outsider's point of view, maybe adding a little bit of whatever spice I can add. But, yeah, I'm very excited for him. I'm excited to see Joe take this next step. Obviously, I've watched Joe work hard at this and using Twitter and, other vessels for putting his heart and soul into football and getting stuff out there for people that want to consume Joe.
Oh, Jesus.
And abuse Joe, apparently.
So many want to. But some people think it's the opposite, that Joe is forcefully making them subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
He's forcing himself.
What's interesting is Joe still does offer a varying level of free content. He's on Bengals on the Brain on YouTube, and he still uses his Twitter account the same way he did before. Now, subscribers get an extra layer, or I'll say layers of content on top of it. There's also a Discord.
Is he
There's
your
also a
agent now?
Discord.
I know. I wasn't even prepared for this.
Hey, there's also a Discord group that comes along with it that
That's
you can
true.
also chat with other subscribers. Even if Joe's not there, you can be fully involved with this elite group.
Not
Bengals
elite.
fans.
Nah, don't. That is a good
sales
selling.
pitch.
That is a good sales pitch.
I'm
I was
sorry.
going to say it's like-minded people. If you like to look at things analytically and talk about mock drafts on a Friday at
Mhm.
midnight, there's a group of people that are doing that in the Discord, and no trolls in there, which is nice. Because you're getting people that
Yep.
want to be in there.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot like the I don't know if you're familiar with the fantasy footballers or not, but for fantasy,
Yep.
they have a thing called the Foot Clan, and it sounds
Of course.
very
they do.
very similar to that.
Yeah.
But of course, you're paying a lot more for their.
Do you have a
content.
cool name?
Yeah, you gotta
No.
think of a cool name for it.
Oh, that's chat. Think of a good.
The Dingleberry Clan or something. I don't know.
If
What?
if
Why
only
the
you
hell
had
did you go there?
I
That
don't
is like
know.
the fucking worst name you could have came up with.
I'm a Dingleberry guy.
I was thinking of a spin on
I want to be a
Dingleberry.
dingleberry.
Some reason, I
Right.
went
You
straight
can
to
hang
that.
from his nutsack.
What?
Oh,
Yeah, that's not
man.
good.
I
We don't
know
want that. We
why.
want to stay away from that. It's not.
If only you
Okay.
had something on your hat, like a logo or something that had a cool name. You know what I mean?
Well, the next
Oh.
run of hats is going to go out to subscribers first, and if there's any left, then they'll go to the public. So that is,
I got a sub.
and it's going to come with a discount for them as well, obviously. But
I
I
will
did want to
say-
say, can I say one more thing? Because Dale brought it up. There are some people aren't going to like it, and some people aren't going to subscribe. That is 100% okay.
They could eat a whole bag of dicks.
They can if they want to. If that's what they have for lunch, then you got to eat. Everyone's got to eat for lunch. But the point I wanted to make is it's not for everyone. That is okay. I did like people. I got to understand. I forget sometimes that a lot of people have followed since the Bengals have gotten good, and that's right when I stepped away from making content as a profession, or at least semi-professionally. Right, I stepped away in 2020. The Bengals got really good, and now people are like, "What are you doing?" Like, this is what I used to do for a long time. I just did it either for free on Twitter or for The Athletic or Bengals Wire or Cincy Jungle and all these other places. Locked on Bengals.
Like,
Of course.
That's when I seen Joe. I'll let you continue, but I see it's like Jake Lisco's the man, and he is. But do we forget that it was you and Jake?
There's a
That's
lot
what
of people
Jake-
who don't know Alex
There is.
Erickson. There's a lot of people that don't know. Yeah.
There is.
That one made me laugh because I was like, oh, okay.
Well, when I left Locked On, I had like 32,000 followers, right? That's when I was like done with everything. I'm at 78,000. So more people now don't know me at doing it at a professional level. So they don't understand that I'm trying to get back into it. And because Twitter has this program now that allows me to do it, man, I could take it from, I only was able to ever get to a 5. If it works and goes the way I dream and hope it to build, if I can get it to a 10, it can be my job, which is what we would all love to do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, people follow you more now because there's a lot more positive news to talk about.
Now, if they were both doing this together, that would be
But it seems like there's been some negative news out there lately, and that's one thing I wanted to talk about.
Hold on, let me suck Joe off for a quick second.
No,
Okay,
we're
go
done
ahead,
with
go
that.
ahead.
We can keep going.
No, because
Spit
he
and
honestly
swallow.
should be. I've said this for years. He should be doing draft coverage for an NFL network and the ESPN. I've said it for years. My brother would agree with me, and we don't agree on a lot of things. So that's one of them.
All
Is
right,
that
thank
Joe
you.
Goodberry's the fucking man when it comes to this stuff. And I won't always agree with you, Joe, and that is perfectly fine.
That's fine.
But you put the work in and you put the time in, and
Yes.
you have your opinion makes sense if people want to listen. Now, some people just don't want to listen to anything but their own fucking head. So,
Well, I'm
you.
sure we'll get to that part eventually
yeah.
here of some arguing lately.
Yep.
And I would like to say, if you don't follow me, this isn't my pitch to follow me, but there are a lot of people that are angry at me that don't follow me. You may see one tweet out of a stream of 100 on the topic. If you see one that makes you mad, it's probably either I'm exploring the other side, I'm seeing what other opinions could be out there. I will run the whole circle, run the entire train on the Joe Mixon topic before I come to my conclusion. And sometimes I don't even get to a conclusion, but I will explore everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, no-
And that's how it should be.
Yeah, the thing I appreciate about you, Joe, is like I feel like when you've made an opinion, like Dale said, you've done your homework and you are able to keep emotions out of it, where a lot of fans aren't. And a lot of
I don't really
contact
feel
fans-
emotions, so that's probably why.
Like you do
No,
really
Glenn-
well just
Glenn-
making
Glenn, has
objective
Joe always been
opinions.
dead inside?
No, he's lying to you. I've seen him cry over Homeward Bound when we were kids. You know what I mean? He's not always that soft.
Oh, man.
Always that hardcore. He's got a soft side. He knows,
Yeah.
but he does separate it in his head, and sometimes I have a hard time being an emotional fan because I don't see it in the same perspective. And Joe helps me with Bill stuff, even to level off a little bit. And
Yep.
it's I
Right.
don't
Everyone's
agree
got a
sometimes.
friend like that where it's like, am I crazy or should they do this? And they I'd be like, hey, just relax, man.
Has
Yeah, you're
anyone ever
fucking crazy.
called you the elderberry?
Hey, that's
No.
I like that.
I do like that.
That's a pretty cool name.
That's
I think,
interesting.
I think we should adopt that for Dad.
Something.
Oh yeah, the old man.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Get him a jersey. It's like elderberry.
Ah,
Yeah,
he would dig
he
it.
would love it.
Works.
Yeah.
All right. So, Glenn, what has the Bills done this offseason?
Well, they seem a little mild. We're up against the cap. Brandon Bean has typically done pretty good at manipulating the cap or almost making it feel like it's non-existent. And the Bills have liquid, cash that they can move around, and the owners have some deep pockets, so they're able to do some different things. This offseason, we've added to the offensive line in free agency, a couple players that are going to, compete for positions, and they're very interchangeable. The Bills do like that. They like versatility on their offensive line. They like it on their defensive line.
So far, it sounds like jack shit. You've done nothing.
Well, personnel-wise, it's very much the same, other than Singletary's gone and McKenzie's gone, who are two offensive contributors.
Yeah,
Got
and
Jordan
Harris.
Poyer back. One big thing
Poyer
is
was huge. Yeah.
Well, one of the bigger things is Leslie Frazier not returning as defensive coordinator. Now you got Buffalo, who's had a top, 10 defense the last few years under Leslie Frazier, but it has not been able to show up in big situations, playoffs necessarily. They played some, wild concepts against Cincinnati. They did it against Kansas City, which helped them stay in the game, 2 years ago when you had that big, big Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, and it left the entire NFL thinking Josh Allen and the Bills were going to win it last year. I think it was a way the Bills sort of respectfully moved on a little bit from Frazier, gave him an opportunity to, go explore some stuff, especially when they hired an assistant to Sean McDermott and the defense. As soon as they hired him before Frazier was gone, I was like, I was thinking Frazier's on the last leg, and McDermott's probably going to start calling defensive plays, and then Frazier was gone. So that's what's going to happen this year. And that's probably the biggest move in the offseason. And maybe there's some buzz about Hopkins being traded to Buffalo.
I have seen that.
Yeah, so
it's like I think I seen today that would be like a top destination, or they're most likely, or something is what I read.
But didn't you just say they're
I'm
up against
also
the
reading
cap,
that.
though? I mean,
I was just reading recently that I'm breaking up a little bit. You guys there?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I was reading a little bit earlier that other teams are looking that they're getting the feeling that the Cardinals are trying to do some salary cap dump off with him, and now his value's dropping a little bit as far as the trade goes. I do think it's a move that interests me a lot, and I would be kind of excited if Buffalo did something like that. They need something to get him over the hump. Von Miller was there last year to do it, and obviously he couldn't make it into the playoffs, and we'll see. With Josh, I don't think we're necessarily counted out, but I also don't want him carrying this reputation that he can't do it in the playoffs. They can win 13 games the regular season. They can't do it in the playoffs. So
at least he's not Lamar Jackson.
Now, will Vaughn, is he scheduled to be back to start the year off of his injury?
So a month or so ago, he was very optimistic about being able to start the season with this injury. Trey White, who took a total of a year and then a few weeks after he was cleared to come back, before McDermott was comfortable enough to let him, get into the lineup again. We'll see. I would assume anywhere between the start of the season and Thanksgiving, depending on how he progresses.
If it was me, honestly, with Vaughn being a veteran player and he knows how to play freaking football, I would almost want him to come back a little later, less risk of getting injured,
re-injured
during the season.
Exactly.
We had a question from Lisa. Where did you get your shirt? And show off the shirt. Bring your titties up closer to the camera.
yeah, I think there were a couple of people asking about the shirt.
So this shirt, we got a local spot here in Buffalo, is 26 shirts. His name's Del Reed. He's actually kind of a friend of Joe and I.
The creator of Bill's Mafia.
Okay.
He really is. He coined the term. And so he's got a spot here, and he does themed shirts and donates every proceeds to his shirts go to different charities or different families dealing with certain struggles and situations. And this one was over the DeMar Hamlin situation, the Bills-Bengals game down in Cincinnati. Obviously, you got a Buffalo and a Bengal Tiger embracing each other. And so I bought the shirt, a couple months ago when it came out, and I've been wearing it occasionally since. That playoff game, though, made people a little weird about the Bengals around here, but I think it's just friendly rivalry now.
Cool. That's the second shirt that Dell has done with 26 shirts of a Bengal and a Bill hugging it out, a Bengal and a Bison hugging it out, and it was after the Tyler Boyd, Andy Dalton, Tyler Boyd on 4th and 13.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, does he have a website or anything for people that
26 shirts?
26shirts.com.
Yeah, check out 26. Exactly. Yeah.
It's standard because every 2 weeks it's a unique shirt. Once it's done after 2 weeks, so there's 26, by weeks in a year. Once it's done after, that's it. They're gone. So you got to get it at that time. It's gone. It's genius.
That's brutal. Yeah. But I mean, yes, it's genius, but it's also brutal if someone wants that specific shirt.
Yeah.
It looks like Joe's about to pull it up. Yeah. I wasn't sure if he was going to pull the website up or not.
Oh, I can pull it
up. No, he was just going to type it in.
Yeah. Derek, why are you so damn demanding?
I'm not. I said
I'm plugging the guys.
What's demanding about that?
And why are you two wearing matching shirts? Why are you and Joe wearing matching shirts?
Because it is not your average Joe today.
Very nice.
So we've got our not your average Joe.
And I thought I was sucking his dick for a couple minutes.
I mean, your jaw looks like it was
You
a
two
little
are-
sore.
I mean, my name is Joe too, by the way.
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
true. This is true.
But no, I was just going to ask you about you said it's seems to be a pretty friendly rivalry. What's the deal with what do you think the difference is between the Bills rivalry with the Bengals and the Chiefs rivalry with the Bengals? Because for some reason these guys, they won a Super Bowl and yet they're always in our mentions still.
Sure.
Just talking.
Suck.
Well, I mean, the Bengals obviously have a number on the Chiefs, right? They've other than just this AFC Championship game, since Joe Burrow's taken over, and the Bengals are, in one of the best positions they've ever been in. It's different in that regard because I think Kansas City really sort of, when it matters, owns Buffalo. They've been that hump. They've been why we've built the defense to try to stop Pat Mahomes. They've been, that monkey on the back for the Bills. And then now we got Cincinnati too. But Cincinnati feels a little bit different than Kansas City does, especially, with the history. And it's different in that capacity, even though it did get a little ugly right after that loss. It was getting real bad. Mm-hmm. There was a lot going on with the Eli Apple stuff. And, even I got involved with it a little bit because it was emotional. That loss was emotional. The Bills were flat. The Bengals were fired up. And in my opinion, we didn't know it yet, but the Bills lost that game before it even started. So
Glenn was hurling out of the car on the ride home from that game. So, all right. So
I need to hear this.
We wait and we walk back to the car, right? And it's so hard to get out of that stadium. Like there's no, as it tends to be from any stadium. But
we partied for like 2 more hours.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we're there. We meet these guys from Toronto, big businessman. Some other guy comes over with a bottle of cheap champagne. I'm drinking that. Glenn's drinking that. But
I blacked out after the champagne. I really do.
This is what I'm getting.
Remember. Okay, go ahead.
I'm talking to this guy from Toronto, and I look over, and Glenn's just kind of like staring off, like his back's to me, and he's just like looking at the moon, and the snow's slowly coming down, and he turns around, he's teary-eyed and stuff, and he's just sad, and we hug it out, we talk a little bit, but I'm like, he's going through it right now, and he's smashed.
I was taking that loss really hard.
Yeah, and he's smashed like completely. And I'm like, all right, this is funny. And then so now the parking lot clears out, and we take off, and we're driving, and it's still kind of slow. We're maybe going 25 miles an hour on these roads. And Glenn's like, next thing I know, he rolls down that window and just rolls it up. He's like, I'm all right, I'm okay. I just need to get that out. 2 minutes later,
no
projectile.
Oh damn!
And then I passed back out, and then we're on the highway home. We're on the thruway, and I remember putting the window down, and I was half bodied out of that car, doing 55 miles an hour out of that SUV, and throwing up all down the skyway we got here in Buffalo that rolls through downtown Buffalo.
Right.
It was, and our friend that drove us, I ended up Venmoing her like $30 for a car wash the next morning. It was.
Oh man,
happens to the best.
I was gonna say we've all been there.
Oh,
I had one night coming back from Dave and Buster's like that, and it was rough.
Dave and Buster's, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, I don't even want to hear you had one. You died on us in the parking lot this season. We thought you were dead. We were checking your pulse. You sat down and
I don't recall that.
And no one could wake you up.
Derek, you look like a pirate.
That's what you do.
Hey, I'm trying to get the curl going.
I see.
He's a musketeer, man. He's D'Artagnan.
Yeah. Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sarah loves Orlando Bloom, so
you look like Orlando Shroom.
I love it.
Well, and I'm sure you guys know Bills are playing in Cincinnati again this upcoming year. Obviously, we don't know the date yet. I hope you guys are planning on making it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a trip we'll 99% be there for.
Awesome.
Hopefully it's nice weather. I mean, we lucked out with that January game, and it was like 60 degrees. It was like gorgeous. I mean, lucked out, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I know. Well,
it was a weird.
It was one of the coolest
weird night.
Days. Like
it was.
The vibes
weird.
were just so different. Mm-hmm. Even in the stadium was like so electric. Even the playoff game after that against the Ravens was not near that electric. But it went from so electric to just
yeah.
Well, I never felt anything like that. That lead up.
Yeah.
My vision was blurry inside that stadium. Like it was so loud and vibing, and it was crazy. like it was almost hurting my head for a minute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember, and there was nothing but just positive experiences with Bills fans. And then I remember when I finally got to my seats, there were some Bills fans, sitting a couple seats down for me. And I remember right before the game started, I said, "Hey, good luck to you guys. You guys are awesome." And it was just like nothing but just positive vibes. It was like the most positive experience I'd had.
Yeah.
And then of course we know what
we could have
happened, and it
defeated
was-
Vigo the Carpathian with those type of high end vibes, right, Glenn?
Right.
Mhm.
Everyone's like,
Oh yeah,
no.
I don't know who
Ghostbusters
that- I
too.
don't
They
know
don't
who
Is
even
that from
right.
Ghostbusters?
And I
Oh,
fucking
okay.
with it.
Yeah.
You know how they're all singing
Ghostbusters
and
2 reference.
it's New Year's and they're all like, they get the. All right.
I was going to say, which one is that? Because I haven't seen the original Ghostbusters in
It's
probably.
Ghostbusters too, isn't it?
I'm just watching Dale's face.
I haven't seen.
Dale's got no
it's
idea.
probably been a good 20 years since I've seen that movie.
Jesus.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
All right, so yeah, we're just since everyone else is
Damn.
arguing, what Bengal Jim?
Damn, pork chops is throwing haymakers.
You need to stay in lot 1 so I can meet
Oh,
you
man.
fuckers.
Speaking of causing a great
Bengals off
divide,
season is fucking tripping this year.
They are.
I was going to say, speaking of like blasting each other, let's talk a little bit about Joe Mixon and the situation. Like, I don't understand why
And
you
let's
can't have
blast
an
each
opinion.
other.
Yeah, I don't understand why you can't have an opinion on something without somebody absolutely hating you right now in the Bengalverse.
It's weird.
Can I say something from an outsider's perspective?
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
Please do.
I think there's a particular fan or fans that have a large cult following that also think they're very
Oh, it's
close
me.
with certain
That's why I'm
players,
alt cult
and
tonight.
that they have ties and
Clark
they have
Harris.
ties to certain players, and they're very friendly with certain players. So on social media, they have to respect that, that potential relationship that they may have with some players on the team, and they have their cult sort of fired up behind them about this. And it
I don't
seems
like
weird
calling
that
it a
it's
cult,
also-
though.
No,
Well,
I'm
you
I'm an
have
outsider.
also been called that you
Right.
have a cult.
Yeah.
So. But I have a cult now too. Iceman said I have a cult, so I'm just gonna roll with it. I would love to have a cult.
Yeah.
Sounds
I'm
fun.
not looking for you guys to even say any input for no divide or whatever you guys
Yeah.
might think. And I'm just saying, from my opinion, I've seen it and this is how I feel. I'm not going to say any names,
Yeah.
but that's how I feel. And that's what Bengals Twitter is sort of feeling like right now. And I would say I follow 60% of my followers and people I follow are Bengals fans. So I'm very in the mix with it. So.
Yeah. Well, before you go, I'll be a fucking asshole and I'll say Zim's fucking tripping. Zim, and I'll say the fucking name, is fucking tripping, loses his fucking mind about this shit, and there's really no reason for it because like we're all Bengals fans, dude. But you're really like you're saying that you're not a fan if you want him to restructure or take less money. Like, come on, man. No one's saying Mixon's ass or anything.
Right.
I mean, there is some people. There's always some people that say stuff, but the majority of people are not saying that. They're saying it's hard to pay a running back $13 million. And that's just an opinion.
Right.
And it's not like trying to hate on anything.
Yeah, it
But
doesn't mean we
then,
think
like-
he's washed. I mean,
But
sorry,
then
finish the thought.
you tag people like Willie Lutz and you say, "Oh, well, you're fuck. Oh, look, I see what you're doing." And all Willie was saying is that Zeke is a decent pass blocker. There's no reason to do that shit and try to divide all this fan base for no reason. Then you want to come out and say you're joking. Well, you weren't fucking joking. You weren't, because you wouldn't have fucking said it in the first place. Because this shit's been going on for a week or two. Like it's kind of fucking stupid to me, and I just don't appreciate it. Because I don't like dividing the fan base. It's fucking dumb. I've seen it with tailgates that divide each other, and I think it's fucking stupid. And that's my opinion. I'm sorry. Continue.
All right, so Joe Mixon.
Can I say from my perspective, I am never intending to divide anyone. That may happen organically. I do think people, because I've met Zim, had a great time with Zim. I like Zim, to be honest with you, and he's got to cater to his audience. We all do. You guys do have to on this show as well. I try to, with Twitter.
Shit, I don't even like Derek. We don't.
But what I mean is that what people want, want to hear about is the topic you may go on. Doesn't mean they have to agree with you. It just means like, if they want, let's talk about this. And also the other part is knowing your audience as well. If you're a beat writer that has to look that player in the face, you kind of skirt around how things are said, right? You may say the Bengals could cut this guy or could, if you know the guy personally or have hung out with him or he's done you favors, maybe he's come on your show, whatever the case may be, you may walk even on eggshells a little bit more and not want to say, or maybe defend the guy. Right. If none of that applies and you're just looking at it based on numbers or film or whatever you use to make your evaluation, your opinion may come off as a little bit harsher and a little more cold. And I have been called that plenty of times. So like, I get it from all perspectives, but at the same time, I want to say to the cult following out there that if I'm having a disagreement or if I don't agree with somebody else, it doesn't mean I hate the guy. It doesn't mean I don't try to take any personal shots at anyone, to be honest with you. It's about the player and the team and how I would build a roster, how I think they should. So I try to, stop it there. I'm never going to like quote tweet somebody or take a screenshot of them and say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about or what he's doing or yada, yada. I try to refrain from doing things like that. And I would hope the followers do the same and not make it personal.
Yeah, and I anything I said, I don't want to be personal, but I also don't want to skirt around what we're talking about and be like, oh, it's a. So I'm just saying, like, to me, and it's fun. Like, I'd love to have Zim. I'll have Zim again on the show if he wants to talk about it. But I don't see any reason. Like, we're all Bengals fans, and hell, here's Glenn, who's a Bills fan, who's just looking from an outsider perspective. I know he's your brother, but in general, like, you can see the people that are trying to make division for no reason. Like, why? There's no reason. Like, and a lot of it is we're not saying, like I said, that Mixon's bad. Like, I think Mixon's a solid. He had his best receiving season. We have talked about that stuff. Like as far as this show, we have never said that. But we also said, especially going into free agency, if I could free up that money, $10 million basically, by designating him a post-June 1 cut, that I would do that. Because that's $10 million I could put to somewhere else, and I think I could get another running back that maybe could perform better, and even in the draft. And so, but I've also said, hey, if Mixon's back and they're going to pay him because that didn't work out, cool. Joe Mixon's a good running back.
Absolutely.
Like, but I don't know why it's like you got to be somewhere on this side or that side. There is no side. It's just, and we're all fans and we all have opinions. Why can't we just have opinions and be respectful to each other?
Yeah, at the end of the day, not that hard to respect one another. But the most absurd and extreme takes, they're heard the loudest, sadly, in a social media setting. But I'm me. I'm the biggest Mixon stan. I was defending him when people are saying, P. Ryan needs to be starting.
That was me. Well, I said maybe he should.
When he was playing good. P. Ryan and all, but
it was a good, healthy conversation between us.
I'm with Joe over here. I was the same way. I was like, no, Mixon's still the better option.
No, I know. Yeah. Well, I get it. Like, I even low-key was like, I kind of agree too.
He was just the Stephen A. Smith on our show for the moment. He just had to have a different opinion.
And P. Ryan was doing his thing. From what we felt about P. Ryan last year to this year,
definitely.
I mean, it was a complete 180.
Yeah. He earned.
I wanted the Bills to pick P. Ryan up.
A lot of teams did.
I wanted Singletary.
I wanted to get Singletary.
Pass blocker, and he's young. And
the one thing I didn't want to pick your brain about, Joe. So, my whole thing with Mixon is like people are saying,
Michael.
cut him.
Sorry, I have to interrupt when it's Michael. He took me to my first Bengals game.
Michael Scott over here.
That's my guy. That's my guy. And he's part owner of the Donut Distillery, which I bought that stuff.
Nice.
He has one down here in Portsmouth. So
that was week 1, right?
Yeah.
Was that week 1? Yeah.
Those were good. Shout out to Mike.
That's my dude. That's my brother.
So my whole thing when people are saying we can save money by cutting Mixon, it's like, okay, well, what are we going to spend that money on? We're not just going to cut him just to save money. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So where are we going to allocate it to? So with the money that we have to allocate towards our draft class, any undrafted free agents, like how tight is our cap situation from what you've looked at, Joe?
Depends on how tight the Bengals want to go, because not everyone goes directly 100% to the cap.
Sure.
They usually have some wiggle room just in case things happen throughout the year. I would say they're within 10 to 13 million of where they want to be. So, and that's before extending Burrow. That's before attempting
under.
Yeah, so they have 10 to 13 to spend still after rookies, after practice squad.
That's a good amount.
Because you got to remember too, even if it's like 7.5 million to sign all 7 of your picks, every time a rookie makes the roster, he's kicking off a veteran that makes more money after round like 3. So if the round 3 through 7 make it, you're actually saving money. So people look at the rookie pool and overinflate it. I love Jeff Hobson, but every time he writes about it, he completely mishandles it and fumbles
for
it
10 years straight. Like it's a yearly tradition, by the way. We all love Jeff.
He's the man, honestly. But at this point, I just can't read it anymore. But he's still the man. Anyways, if that leaves them with 10 to 13 to spend this year, that's when you start to say, okay, if Burrow is going to get about 10 million increase this year against the cap, that's that right there. And that's why I think cuts, extensions, restructures should still be on the table at this point. Because I know one of the arguments is, why cut Mixon now? There's no one left in free agency. And you might be right. They're not going to go spend $7 million on Dalton Reisner, even though they probably should. They're not going to.
Yes, I would love that.
So even if they didn't, whatever the case may be, I think there's a few guys they may get that 13 million down to 10 million, right? With a couple small free agents. But at that point, if you save 10 million on Mixon, if you save $7.5 million on La'el Collins, so now we're adding 17 million. If you save 12.6 million on Jonah Williams, now we're back in the range, right? Now we're in the, okay, you can actually go get Dalton Reisner or somebody else, Cam Fleming, or whoever may be a pass rusher that's still sitting out there while paying at least Burrow, maybe Logan Wilson and T. Higgins.
So with the extensions, Burrow, Higgins, maybe Logan, even Reader's eligible. So I'd read somewhere that if they do these extensions after March 31st, that they're not counting against this year's cap. Is that wrong?
Yeah, that's not the cap. That's for the escrow. So if I give you $30 million guaranteed after March 31st, I can split a portion between this year and next year. So it doesn't I don't have to sign a check for full 30 million right now and give it to you. I can split it up over the course of the
more about liquidity
months.
And cash than salary cap.
Okay.
Thank you.
And now the salary cap, if Joe was to sign his contract today, his contract still wouldn't account against the cap this year, correct?
So he's got the 4th year right now, obviously, and then they're going to pick up his 5th year option. That'll be your first sign that they're about to extend him. They'll pick up the 5th year option first. You'll hear that, and then expect the extension to be announced pretty soon afterwards. Because you do that because if he's, I want to say, what is it, 16 million against the cap this year, and then the 5th year option is 30 million. So that's 2 years at 46 million. Even if we split that down the middle, 23 million a year would be great. We'd take Joe Burrow for that anytime. So even if he gets a 5 years, 250 million, which is 50 million per year, you still have the 2 years left of his current deal. Added on to that, it brings the average actual cap hit down below 50 million. So it's not always, what you hear when you see the new big deal. You always got to think about the previous money that's still in there, and it'll bring his average down. So even if he does sign a big extension, I assume new money will be put into this year's cap hit, even though he'll get a huge signing bonus and make a lot of cash this year. His cap hit will still probably go up a little bit so that you don't have $50 million hits across the board in 2025, 26, 27. Instead, you can go 26 million this year, 34 million next year, and then 45, 45, 45.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so now we got to talk Power Rangers, right? Because Derek was dealt a devastating blow right before the show about
what happened.
I was. So I thought the new Power Rangers that was coming out was a movie. I was so hyped for it, so excited for it, because it looks like you could put 90 minutes and make that into something great. And then I heard that from your brother that it's only going to be one episode.
Oh, really?
So,
Yeah, it's a 30th anniversary episode, and they brought back a handful of the OGs, and but they mixed them up too. There's some odd continuity in there, but there's also some politics with the actors in their current state 30 years later. But yeah, so it's going to be a 30th anniversary episode. And
Do we know how long? Is it a 45-minute episode?
I'm hearing it's a little longer than 30 minutes. It could be anywhere between 30 and an hour. But yeah, Rita's return. There's a pretty cool trailer, actually. I don't know if you saw it, Joe. I'm gonna have to.
I did see it, and that's why I wondered.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'll watch this. I'm sure the kids will be into it.
mhm.
Yeah, and it'll be on Netflix, so it'll be pretty available. I remember the 25th anniversary episode was tough to watch because it was on Nickelodeon, and for some reason I didn't have Nickelodeon. But now it's.
I did see the Green Ranger was running through there, though. So
I was just going to ask
Yeah.
if Jason David Frank filmed it.
I hope so.
No, so there was something going on there where he did not portray. He didn't bring his character back up because it was filmed most of it prior to his passing.
Mhm.
And there's the same thing with they did bring back one of the original Reds. They Steve Cardenas is his name. He was in the Power Rangers movie from 1995. He was the second Red Ranger after the three of them left, and the original Red Ranger actor is in some hot water too lately. But
Now, can you explain this to me? Like every one of them, they all obviously look older. The Black Ranger dude, he looks like he hasn't aged a bit.
Zach,
I mean,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, this guy it's insane. Honestly, it pisses me off
looks
because
great.
we all look like.
Well, I just want to say, black don't crack.
yeah, they don't.
Yeah, he's 52. He looks great.
Right?
Is he really 52 years old?
Yeah, I just looked him up. Walter Emmanuel Jones.
Wow.
He's 52 years old, and he looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does
Good for
look
him.
great. I mean, a lot of them are still in pretty good shape too. They do the Comic-Con tours, and I follow a lot of them on Instagram. They're all in really good shape. They're all pretty athletic still. And even they had martial arts and gymnastics backgrounds too prior to it, because obviously they wanted some athleticism involved too with a martial arts kids show. But yeah, so and you're right. Like he looks great. Even David Yost, who played
David
Billy, like he's in shape. He's a gymnast. And yeah, so it's kind of cool. It was crazy back in the day when we were kids. It was a crazy show, and it was super hyped up. And look at I got a whole friggin' shelf to it. I can't grow up here. Zach Taylor, Greg Luther's on it. He knows Power Rangers.
Yeah, is the original like Rita Repulsa still around and
It
involved?
sounds like her original voice, but I mean,
Yeah, I don't know if it's the original actress. It looked like in that trailer they rebuilt her. She's like robotic. But they actually took in season 1. It was Japanese footage. It was a show in Japan.
Right.
yeah,
They
I
cut
remember that.
they cut the
Voiceovers.
footage. Yep,
Mhm.
exactly, and they did voiceovers. And then season 2, they actually recasted the character for Rita, and then it's her voice, so it's a different voice for season 2 and 3 and so on. But yeah,
Yeah, I
there's a lot of
remember.
layers to it.
I hadn't watched it since I was a kid, and I remember like my son wanted to watch it, so I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'll go watch it. And then watching it again as an adult, I'm like, why are her lips moving? But it's all
Yeah.
it was so confusing.
I was like, this sucks. I was watching it with my kids. I'm like, this show sucks.
yeah, it was rough. So yeah, what about the Mario? Thank you, Dale from Bengals and Brews. What do you guys think about the new Mario movie coming out?
looks awesome.
I think it
Not-
looks fun. Yeah.
I was gonna say not the dub one that they did. That one actually looked pretty cool too, honestly. But
Which were you talking the one in the 90s?
90s?
no, I'm talking about the one that I think was it Saturday Night Live that did a skit for it or something like that. I'll have to look it up. But it was like
The 90s one was pretty odd.
Pedro Pascal was hosting Saturday
Yeah.
Night Live.
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
did a
yeah.
skit
I
where
saw
it would
that.
be a live action Mario Brothers
That
with
was
like
hilarious.
a Last of Us vibe. But it was like even like Mario Kart. It was.
That I did see that. That was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I'll watch it. Because it's Mario Vasquez. I think is that what Dale said that's his name. Like a lot of his movies he does are very good. But
Pedro Pascal, Mario Vasquez is not even fucking close.
Hey, thanks, Dale. Appreciate it. I'm like off on another land, but I've got a hot take for everybody.
Okay.
I wanted to wait for Joe and Dale to get back on because I'll let them blow or destroy me for it. But
I'm still here. I'm just ripping.
Okay. So
were you gonna say you're gonna let them blow you? Like, where were you going?
I was going. I was like, blow me up, and then I was like, somebody will take that. Somebody will take that the wrong way, so I'll just end it right there. But,
just edit that up then.
Yeah,
for me.
just
Thanks.
cut it. But
Clip.
like I got clipped, but
it's gonna end up on a clip on Twitter and Instagram.
So at tight end,
Michael Mayer had a pro day today.
He did have his pro day today, and everybody has their different opinion of what they want to happen and this and that. But I wanted to know what your opinion on. I think that Wilcox can do the same as far as like receiving wise and stuff that Hayden Hurst did, and that was kind of my hot take. What's your thoughts on that?
What about bringing back Drew Sample?
Fuck you!
God, what the fuck?
I just came back for this shit.
I don't think Wilcox can do what Hayden Hurst can do. I think he can be a number 3 tight end. That's fine. Someone that can
He's a good blocker. He's a good blocker.
Catch a touchdown, run some routes, do some things, but
that other guy cannot even block, and that's why he was drafted, was to block.
I just think that like
Sample or Devin Asiasi.
Oi.
The other one you said is who we're talking about. But
Drew Sample, that's Dale's favorite.
Cam Sample made a leap last year, okay?
Yeah. Coach Minich was on with Iceman, and he had the take about Michael Mayer is your wildest dreams, Drew Sample. So I went on with Iceman, even though I didn't want to, because I had nothing nice to say about it. But Iceman's like, no, you should come on. And I was like, that is the dumbest fucking take I've ever fucking heard.
I would just, as far as Wilcox goes, I was just thinking, Hayden Hurst had almost 500 yards last year, and 4 touchdowns?
Yeah, something like, or 3.
And I just feel like in 16 or 17 games, I feel like Wilcox could do that same amount of production.
No one agrees.
Okay. So that's part of like the thing that I think people struggle with analysis overall is separating like good production or even solid production or bad production from what a player actually is, if they're good, bad, or not, right? Like you could have a bad player have a great year and people are like, he's great now. Well, no, he just had better opportunity. Things happened, it kind of, I don't want to, we like Tyler Boyd, but people are like, Tyler Boyd's a number 1 receiver. He spent 3 years as a number 1. Yeah, the offense sucked every year, guys. Like, that's not what you want as a number 1. Like, so there, role plays a big part in this. Pedigree, your athleticism, your size, your strength, all of these things. So could Wilcox have 500 yards and 3 touchdowns? Yeah. It probably wouldn't mean your offense is good, though, or at least you'd be struggling at tight end in a lot of ways. Yeah. So, I think he could do that. Do I want Mitch Wilcox to do that? No, I want to find somebody that could do more and be better. I think that would be a career year for Wilcox.
Yeah, I'm not saying, like, skip tight end in the draft or anything. I'm just saying, like, because I have a feeling that he's going to be the one they bring back and then they address in the draft.
I hope he's the one.
I don't have
anyone right now, so.
Yeah. Now that was just why I started looking at it through that lens.
It's a dumb fucking take.
Hurst was a fucking animal. That's disrespectful to Hayden Hurst to say that.
Right. Would Wilcox create the energy that Hayden Hurst did? Hurst would truck somebody, lift that crop top up and flex on everyone, and everyone's like,
and the hair and the beard.
Right.
Like, come on.
Like, that's all
anybody can grow hair and a beard.
Vibes
I would take Hurst in Buffalo.
Yeah, I was very disappointed.
You got
her.
We would
You
like
got-
to have Dawson Knox.
Right. I was going to say, you got the better version in Dawson Knox.
Yeah, but they also signed OJ Howard last year in hopes of something, right? I mean, there's still something there that they want.
Another
that
tight
they
end.
want out of that they want another tight end.
Well, the other guys ended up all getting hurt after that. So I think
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name that got hurt after camp that they really liked. Oh, man. He's like an H-back type. Morris? No, who's the – you know what I'm talking about. Man, it slipped my – we haven't thought about him for the Bills. This is for the Bills, guys. Sorry, I'm messing you guys up here.
No, you're good.
No,
Messing me up.
Yeah, I'm Quentin Morris, maybe. Jeez, I have to look at the roster.
Bobby
He had a great summer and then preseason, then got hurt after they cut OJ Howard.
I'm looking
What?
it up right now.
I was going to say as well.
I have depth charts, actually, hold on. I have 400 papers, but in my folder here, I think I have depth charts if he's on it.
I was going to say also, well, he wasn't because he missed the year, but I don't think Matt Minich is wrong on the he may have said it wrong. So I'm going to say it better.
Oh, my God, Joe, don't do this to me.
I'm going to say it better than he did.
Compare a 6th-round pick to a 1st-round pick.
Well, remember, sampled didn't go in the 6th round, so he should have been. He was great as a 6th rounder.
Prospect, Mayer hasn't went anywhere yet, so it's
True.
Prospect to me.
Just
Correct.
so you guys know, Santori offered me $3 to bring this up. Just so you know, he texted me earlier when he saw I was on the show.
Well, and
And
Joe
asked
just
me
brought
to
it up
bring
for
this
free.
up.
You didn't even get your
Yeah, he did.
$3.
I declined the $3, but he offered it.
Son of a
Just so
bitch.
you know.
So, as we know from Drew Sample, what we know now versus what we know at the time. Drew Sample was a really good blocker with really good hands at Washington. I think he only had one drop the entire time.
25 catches, 252 yards. With
Let me get there. Let me paint
breakout season, Joe.
Let me paint the picture.
Dale pulled out his Google folder for this. So
He was ready.
let him-
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So he had good size, good bulk, right? Everything you'd look for there. His
He was
testing.
white tight
Let
ends
him
that are
finish.
6'5". Oh, compare them.
Drew Sample had good size. He was the blocker. He had good hands. One drop in college. He also tested well enough across the board. They didn't end up having like a 9 RAS, if you remember. Now, we know from watching him, he doesn't look like a 90 percentile athlete. He kind of lumbers. He doesn't really look right. He's just fine.
He's a
definitely-
high motor guy.
He's definitely not a natural athlete. 90% RAS.
Joe.
Listen
Someone
to
must have
me.
really paid
Let
for
me
this
paint it.
description.
I had a 6th round grade on Drew Sample as well. And the reason was his production scores were so low because he was never a heavy contributor. And we've seen in the past, it's hard to outplay what you did in college. If you weren't a heavy contributor in college, and this goes for any prospect you like here, I'll talk about prospect or production scores for the next month, and people are going to be mad at me when Jeremy Rucker, I'm like, he should not go in the 2nd round. His production scores are terrible, and people get mad. But the point is, it's hard to become a guy who is a 4th option to become anything more than that in the NFL. So when the Bengals took him, I'm like, this is bullshit. You guys are fucking up. He'll never be anything more than maybe a number 2 tight end that can block. Now, how does that relate to Michael Mayer? I think they have similar body sizes. I think that the testing as well for Mayer before his pro day today. So this is the comment he made before the pro day because he did his shuttle and agility stuff today, which ended up being better than expected, I think. So before today, it looked like Mayer, who was like an 85th percentile athlete after the combine. And you watch him on tape sometimes, he's not the fastest tight end off the line. He's not the most agile guy. He's not the quickest guy. He's not the best route runner. I mean, technically,
best contested catch guy.
Technically, I think he's a good route runner, but just athletically, he's not the guy that's threatening on that stuff.
I agree.
But what Mayer has is like a 98th percentile production score, meaning he's likely to be a tight end number 1 in the NFL. What Drew Sample did not have in his profile that the Bengals just disregarded completely is what's going to slap them in the face with Michael Mayer. So if you took a Drew Sample and he was a top end receiver in college, he would have been worthy of a number 2 of the 2nd round pick. Is all. If you want to say he's the souped up version would be Michael Mayer, then I'm not against that. I think he's right. Because I don't think Michael Mayer will be Antonio Gates or Travis Kelce or if like best case scenario we're saying
Big
maybe
Bob.
My aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle.
he,
I just can't.
he will
do
not
this.
be Gronk because he doesn't have that size and burst and athleticism.
You're naming
He-
Hall of Famers.
I know what I'm saying, but if you're taking a first round tight end and a strong, super strong tight end class, he better be tremendous. He better be really good. It's same as running back. The two least valuable positions to draft in the first round are running back and tight end because the replacement
fair.
cost for them, then the best place to take them is second, third, fourth round. You can even get a Kittle and other guys in the fifth round. This has happened pretty routinely at tight end because it's a hard position to evaluate and it takes long for them to develop. So teams like, we're going to wait a little bit.
He's
I
also a
respect
fifth
that.
round pick, and it took him a while to get real good, but
Knox
Guys,
was
free analysis. You like more analysis like this? Go to Joe Goodberry's Twitter. Subscribe
agent.
right now. Subscribe
What
right
was-
now for
What was Lamar's business
500.
partner's name?
hold on.
This is
Hey,
Joe's
we
guy.
have $5 right now on a super chat. Thank you,
Thank you, Rowdy.
Yep.
People expecting a Gronk or Kelsey. Yeah, but Gronk second rounder, Kelsey third, which goes to Joe's point of like you can't get these guys, but Mayer is far and away the best prospect at tight end overall in this draft.
Yeah.
In my right,
But does that mean he'll be the best one in 4 years?
I don't
Maybe.
know that. I
We
can't
don't-
predict
no one
the
knows.
future.
No one knows
So,
that, but I think if it was clear, you
Well,
would
I
be
can
more
tell you
confident in
this.
that.
I can tell you this. Drew Sample was not going to be the best ever in my wildest dream when they took him in the second round.
No.
And it never was going to be. So that's why I didn't like that take.
Yes.
Because Drew
That's-
Sample was not the
exactly.
guy. No chance of being the guy.
That's
Where
why.
Mayer could be.
And
He
no
could
one
be
should have
more
expected
Drew.
him to be Drew Sample. Should have.
Exactly.
He didn't have the production.
Exactly.
So you're out on Mayer in the first round. You're out on Jones. I saw because
Well, I want
his lack of testing. Go ahead,
I want to follow up. Sorry, Joe. I'm
out on tight end. I like
Okay,
Mayer a whole lot.
I was about to say Mayer is the only guy I would consider at 28 at tight end. I wouldn't
Right.
consider another one. So same page with that.
I like Darnell Washington a whole bunch. I just
25
want to
catches. 25 catches.
Exactly where I was
That's-
going.
Let me check. Drew Sample.
Now the difference there is he's got a guy that's probably going to go top 12 or 15 next year ahead of him. So like you understand why Darnell Washington didn't have more. But you're right.
I'm just saying there's no way I take that risk in the first round.
When I put him through the formula, it says second round because
Yes.
of the production
I
scores.
would love
So-
him at 60. Love him at 60.
So Mayer's the only one that comes out as a first rounder. Number 2 is actually Laporta right now. And it would have to be a pick 60 and that's it.
Yeah. Because he can't. He's not.
His
a blocker.
profile is rock solid.
Yeah.
That's tight end you.
Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No, you're
I get
good.
excited. I get excited. I've done 15 shows this week.
You're good, man.
I'm not exaggerating.
I think that's on the low side.
7.
Honestly.
If
you do it.
Well, yeah.
This is
You're
the 7th one for Bengals and Brews.
Yeah. On top of doing Iceman
This
show.
week.
That's the grind right there.
I'm trying to be like Joe Goodberry one of these days where someone will pay me money.
Yeah, start charging people, man. Yeah, I was saying. So
I'll send them feet pictures too.
I saw you say you were out on DeJuan Jones.
Good money there.
Yeah.
Shane.
Just because of his lack of
It's the entire picture with DeJuan Jones.
Okay.
Because I think not testing probably gives credence to some of the worries that are probably going around the league with his weight, with how much he loves or cares about football and how much he can control his body. And I think the fact that he didn't want to weigh in, he refused. I'm not even going to weigh in again at the pro day. People are looking at him. I just saw Rick Spielman was on the Sirius NFL show today. Former GM of the Vikings, Rick Spielman, said there's bets going around in the inner circles. Is he under or over 400 pounds right now?
Yeah, I
So,
see
like,
that too. I see that. Yeah, we were talking about that.
It's-
in the chat.
So I put him through the thing, and it says third round. I still think he goes round 2. I don't think he goes round 1, to be honest, because I think he is a unique player. He's a unicorn because of the size. Now we just signed Orlando Brown, and there's guys like Trent Brown, and there's been a couple other 6 foot, 7.5 plus
That was
guys
a whole
that are
conversation
350
with us on
pounds.
Twitter. Like, but
Right.
that's the thing. We were respectful about. Like, Everything
Well,
you say, you know, has a point, and I'm
So-
just like, it's just what I see that I think he could be Orlando Brown.
he could be. That would be the comparison. I even said that before he even tested. And he only ran the 40. But people are going to look at Dwan Jones and say Orlando Brown, and I would agree that would be the hope. But we have to remember Orlando Brown went in the third round because of it. Because people were scared of how big and slow he was.
Tested like shit, and that was one of the things that you mentioned was like, well, that's probably why, you know, I said I don't think he tested because he was going to test like Orlando Brown,
right?
And you're like, exactly, which isn't a good thing.
Did Brown have
you're right.
Brown have the wingspan that Dewan has?
Nobody had the wingspan Dewan has. Even Trent Brown, the other 6'8", 350 guy who plays for the Patriots, had like 31.5-inch arms. Like he did not have, like nobody has what Dewan's wingspan and length is insane. And that's why there's even times he's off balance or the one leg is dragging behind him and he's just like orbit. He's just making guys run so far around.
I will say
that's
Lapham.
the point you made, Dale. Go ahead.
Well, Lapham right. Like I was saying, he's different. He's a unicorn, as Joe said, but Lapham also said the same thing, that he thinks he's a late second round, and Lapham literally played in the NFL. So that's where I'm like, shit, if I could get him at 60, I'd love it. I just don't think he makes it there. Mm-hmm. And I think I personally have him higher, but you just
two guys
draft, dude,
that'll go potentially ahead of him: Matthew Bergeron of Syracuse and Blake Freeland. BYU.
Oh, you think Freeland will?
Look at the top 10 offensive tackles in the league. The only bad athlete's going to be Orlando Brown. All rest are elite athletes, and Freeland has played. He started when he was 19 and played well when he was 19.
Number one on PFF grade-wise is Blake Freeland, by the way.
His grade, his
freak.
So his right now, out of all offensive linemen I've got in the thing, Blake Freeland's number one. And I've got like a third round grade on him, but the process is saying you're wrong.
I agree. Yes, I'm with you on that one. I talked to Parker Blake about him like constantly because I'm like, this guy is, you just don't know, 6'8" and he's like 300.
Yeah, 307.
I said it earlier. I'm like, so he's small, and people are like, oh, 300 pounds is small. I'm like, when you're 6'8",
yeah, I mean,
in the NFL. He needs to add a lot of functional strength and things like that. But he's played well. He tests well. All signs like that point toward being a good player.
Yeah, and even like Andrew Whitworth was 6'7" and some change, but he was 335 to 340
I was going to say,
he
was almost 340.
His legs were skinny. He got dead bod at 6'7", right? But like it worked. He had enough strength and power, and then he kept his lower half athletic. So like if Blake Freeland, man, maybe in a year or two, like, dude, put on 25 pounds, and that might be the ticket for him.
I could see him being like one of the best left tackles 4 years from now. Yeah. It's not a guy that I could see being the guy next year for any team.
And so the other thing that we're trying to add this year to our O-line and draft database is how young they were. So we've known a breakout age for wide receivers, right? We want guys that produce when they're young. The Bengals love this. Like almost every receiver they draft, who are guys that broke out, played at 19 and 20, and were producing for their team.
Hold on. I feel like me and Joe are taking it. But, man, I swear, I've learned half of fucking the shit I do when I scout players from Joe from the past 15 years. So if you want to subscribe, that $5 is well worth it.
So this is Neil Engelberger, who's been helping us build our spreadsheet this year. He was like, dude, I got some data here if you want to look at it. And he basically put together, you want to say hi? This is Holly. Hi. This is the youngest.
Hi, Holly.
So he goes, dude, look at the top 25 offensive linemen or the past 5 years based on PFF grading, and look at their college production. And he started to put a whole chart and a formula together that if they started playing in college and played at a certain level before 20-ish and a half years old, they almost all the guys that are good offensive linemen in the league have hit this mark. And I'm like, okay, so who doesn't hit the mark this year? And it's Darnell Wright. He did not play well until this past year at Tennessee. Yeah. He was dog shit for the first 3 years.
Left tackle, he's undraftable.
Right. He actually was right and then left, and then right again. So, like, I get it as a freshman, though. So, I give him a pass. But, yeah, he was terrible. So, and I can't find a top 20 offensive lineman that has his type of trajectory from college into the NFL. It's going to be scary to even draft him. And I think he might be looks like on tape, the most pro-ready tackle, especially right tackle in this draft. So it's concerning.
Well, Matt Miller has said that's a big riser. Like a lot of people think he goes in the top 20.
Yeah, because I don't think teams look at the stuff or even care, or even they're like, no, he's good. I don't care. If the light bulb turned on, great, let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
So Joe, who are 3 guys that within reason that you would be excited about taking at 28?
Yeah, so you only hear me when I'm out on guys, right? There are guys I am in on, but it's
Casey, he's very high on. I know that.
Well, there's 2 guys last year. So give me the example. I'm going to eliminate guys from contention from this. So I want as a small sport as possible. Hopefully one of them are there and we can take one, right? Last year, George Karlaftis was 9 on the board. Dax Hill was 10, or it was the other way around. And I'm like, there's 2 guys still there as we're coming. And one goes 30 or 31 and what did it go? Yeah, 30 and 31. Yeah. And I'm like, you got 2 top 10 guys still there available at the end of the first round. So I still think that is a possibility. Again, like I said, there's going to be like Blake Freeland is going to be the top offensive lineman, it looks like, in this on our spreadsheet. Mm-hmm.
Do
they take him at 28? Is that too high? Is that too crazy? But I also think, like,
he's not going to play right tackle.
Why wouldn't he? He did it at the Senior Bowl. Well, watch the Senior Bowl practices, and I'm like, actually looks like he's
okay. Well, what in Frank Pollock's history would make us think he would take a 6'8", 300-pound guy at right tackle?
What does history said for him? I mean, does it say he only likes big guys?
He likes them big.
He likes them big.
He likes them chunky. Anyway.
Right.
Chunky.
Well, Jackson Carman wasn't the longest guy either, though, and he drafted him. But I don't know if Carman was his pick either.
Right.
So
and
time.
guard.
He drafted Billy Price, who was small for a center.
But back then for the Jets, because he was on the Jets when they drafted him, and then Collins
for
with the Cowboys, and then he brought Collins in again.
Collins is small. Did you know that? Look up his profile.
Yeah.
He's 6'4". He's got smaller arms than Jonah Williams.
Thickness-wise.
Thickness, he's a thick boy. Yes.
Yeah.
If we're talking thickness and density.
So
let me get back to players I like.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Pollock likes them thick, and that's why I think I have a chance to be like Pollock.
Don't we all?
Santori, my pants are already off.
I want Kalijah Cansey to be there.
I know you do.
I think Kalijah Cansey would be awesome. I think he'd be exactly what we need. I think he would add an element of athleticism and pass rushing speed and versatility that we do not have. You got to think about the Bengals defensive line. They're all lining up at the same spots all game, and they're just rushing. Like, can we get a guy that moves around a little bit?
Backup 3-tech.
Yes. Right. Or Carter, because I still think of them as a 3-4 defense. So, like, Hill was kind of the 5-tech. Carter was the 3-tech. Like, I want better than that. I want Kalijah Cansey in that spot.
Oh, yeah.
I think underrated guy would be Will McDonald. And I know he's 24, and that kind of goes against what I usually think for drafting young dudes. Well, he's produced the whole time. These COVID years are giving us older prospects when we don't want it. But his profile is pretty strong, and he's
like 253. I know he's very athletic-y, as Glenn said, or as
So think of the Bengals D-line, right? And now everyone's just Sam Hubbard is not coming off that left end spot. If we want to replace Sam Hubbard with a pass rusher, who do we have on the roster? Because Osai doesn't go over there. He's only on the other side with Hendrickson rotating. Give me Sam Bryant rushing the damn passer. So give me a guy that can rush the passer from left end. Will McDonald can. He's the only guy that gave Darnell Wright even any kind of trouble at the Senior Bowl with spin moves, long arms, in and out moves, ghost moves. He was killing them. And
would you take a 4th to 5th edge in round 1?
Yes, because in a year, and that's why I take D tackle also, because in a year, DJ Reader may be off the team and they may not extend him. In 2 years, Hendrickson may be off the team and they may not extend him.
I could agree with making moves like that if we would have addressed free agency more than what we have.
So you would rather take a Michael – let's say it's Kalijah Cansey and Michael Mayer. They need a tight end. They got nobody. But Kalijah Cansey's only going to play 500 snaps this year because he's part of a rotation. Maybe only in your nickel pass rush.
Will McDonald is not in my conversation on it.
I think you're thinking best case scenario. There are scenarios as well where the top 25 guys are guys we all like that went, and we're looking at this class in particular where I think there may only be like 15 clear first rounders.
I have 20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm really hoping one of the top corners fall to us, like Deontay Banks, even Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
You know,
and even they all have issues in their profiles as well. Like Banks is older, and if you're not going to start him if you're going to be a 23-and-a-half-year-old, the peak for corners is 23, 24, 25, and then it starts to come down after that. 26, 27. You're still in the range, but that's it. You start to come down.
Yeah,
if you're not starting him
to start week 1.
You may, but if not, if Awuzie is healthy and he's on the bench, then you're wasting one of his prime years.
True, but it's the last year of his deal too.
It's right, and I don't think they'll keep Awuzie unless
I don't think
something happens.
Readers last year, Awuzie. That's what I mean. Like, I feel like we have a lot of holes, plus a lot of guys coming on there last year that I wish we would have filled a couple more spots to this point.
Agreed.
So I've been leaning more towards the Kalijah Kancey area in the first round picks. I was saying last night, DeJuan Jones, no matter what, just joking around with the guys. But so I'm looking. No, I'm looking at. I was looking into some potential offensive tackles later in the draft, and I know everybody says if you want an offensive tackle, you draft them in the first round or else third.
First 2 at least. Yeah.
And I was wanting to get your thoughts on possibly moving a left tackle to right tackle, and the guy I was interested in was Maryland's Jalen Duncan.
He had a terrible year.
Okay, I was just going by him.
You cut out. Did you freeze him?
Or are you just really thinking? I think we lost Eric.
I was going to say, he said Jalen Duncan for you, Joe.
Yeah,
I was thinking more like Wanye Morris and Warren McClendon. I know that's guys Parker Blake likes.
Yeah. So Jalen Duncan out of Maryland, he'll be 23 as a rookie. The way he grades out is like a 5th, 6th, 7th rounder. And that's largely because he's maybe the most penalized player out of all offensive linemen. So once out of every 84 snaps, he was penalized in college. I mean, that's once a game, basically. He's all right. He'll give you 17 penalties this year if that's the route you want to go. PFF absolutely hates him in terms of every single like metric you could take.
Yes,
so
I had that the other day. I seen that and I go, holy shit, he's on like the 3rd page of the PFF.
Right. So like true pass sets efficiency, right? You want to be like 95 and above. 96, 97, 98 are the good guys that are going to go in the first round. He's at 92. Like he is not even there's no one even at 93. There's one guy at 94. They absolutely think he had a horrendous year. So it would be all tools. I can't wait to see who takes him. But yeah, I think if you're like Wanya Morris or someone like that, I'd much rather have a guy like that.
At running back, is there a guy that you really love for the value as far as where he's projected to be?
Yeah, I keep coming back to Izzy Abanikanda from Pitt because he's 215 and he's got home run speed.
20 years old. Yeah,
and he doesn't have any passing game production because he just didn't use him in that fashion. So it's like maybe his value would have probably gotten too high had they have used him there. So it's really an unknown. So I'm not going to kill the guy for it. It's really the knock is he would probably be like your RB1 type. And if like Zeke Elliott was your P Ryan, that could work, right? So you may need to find someone that if he can ease into that passing game duties. But it's a crazy deep running back class, crazy deep. You guys do these simulators. Every time I take one in the 2nd or the 3rd or even the 4th round sometimes, and I think Abanikanda goes in like the 4th every time. I get in the 5th and I go, well, Jesus, I'd like this guy too, or this guy or that guy, or Tyjae Spears or Deuce Vaughn.
Sean Tucker.
Right, Sean Tucker. And he's like in the 6th round in some of these. And I'm like, okay.
Roshan Johnson is another guy with not a lot of wear and tear on him.
It's crazy deep, actually. I'll switch to the page real quick and go to running back. So,
Glenn, what do your Bills need?
Hey, don't feel bad for me, Dale. when this is Joe's like thing. I'm a student when Joe's up here teaching. I have to go to him because the draft isn't my thing. Like obviously the Bills need offensive line and D line and linebackers and wide receivers.
We got a left tackle.
And maybe a
Jonah
running
Williams is
back.
for sale.
Yeah, I
He'd be better than Spencer
Bobby
Brown.
Hart. He might be, but Bobby Hart and a second rounder. I told Joe.
Yeah, and we
Fuck
all
Bobby
said,
Hart.
we all said we would take it because we want the second rounder, and we're shooting Bobby Hart into the moon. Baby.
Yeah,
Saskatchewan.
Well, if you don't take,
We'll take a
if
bag
you
of
don't
chips
take
over
Bobby Hart, if you don't take Bobby Hart, it's a fourth rounder then.
Damn it.
No, we'll take Bobby Hart because we can easily just cut him right after.
Yeah, we'll cut him.
Yeah, throw us one of those sandwiches too.
Oh, which one? The one I had
Yeah.
yesterday?
Yeah, that one looked. Woo! Sorry, I'm a food guy too.
That was an Italian.
There's a chicken cutlet in there.
There was a chicken cutlet in it. Latinas, Joe, right down
I
the
haven't
road
been to
where we
Latina's in
grew
a
up.
long time. Did it still smell
They're
like
making-
funky cheese?
Well, there was actual mozzarella in there, like the soft ball mozzarella sliced up with arugula and Italian dressings and seasonings, and yeah, it was pretty good. They make their own rolls too.
You know,
Man.
another guy I was going to get to for the first round as well, that maybe like an underrated. I don't think it's crazy because he grades this high, and man, he would be fun. But if they took Jahmyr Gibbs at 28, people would lose their damn mind, right? But think of adding a Jamal Charles, Chris Johnson type dude to this offense and like have him run a route. Watch him run Texas routes versus Texas and how they're panicking on third downs and late in the game because they can't cover them. And he's just undressing these linebackers. Like that would be fun. Teams would be like, oh my God, not only do we have to worry about Higgins and Chase, we got this guy who's legit fast running back, and you can run him isolation routes, and he's just going to undress guys.
You were speaking right to my soul. Like I would be so fucking excited if we drafted Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'd be like, fuck,
and he's
a
not
running back?
he's not gonna fall to 60. So
And apparently-
if the Bengals are in love with him, they're gonna have to take him at 28 or trade back a little bit. So it's just like 28. Hey, if some of the other top guys are gone,
right?
Like I don't want to reach on a tackle just to take a tackle. I don't want to reach on a corner, just take a corner. Like, fuck, yeah, let's take the best player available.
Robert, I was just about to say that too. Apparently, you're a man after playoff P's own heart too, because it seems like he wants that guy on the Bengals roster as well.
Yeah, and then like maybe Northwestern's defensive tackle Adebawore, who tested like a freak, and his production scores are actually really super high because Northwestern as a whole struggled to get any type of pressure. So him getting the amount of pressure and sacks and tackles for loss he did actually stands out really high. 95th percentile production score, tested like a 99th percentile athlete. He's raw, but
yeah.
You know.
So it seems
hold
to
on. I just got
Go ahead.
back and I heard Adebawore, which I love him so much.
you're
And
just talking circle. I like this.
Yeah.
my dream was getting him at pick 60.
Oh,
I know.
pulsating circle.
And I think he's gonna go first, early second now. What do you think, Joe?
You know, I still think he does go in the second, but that's why we were just, if you missed the first part, I was talking about guys that maybe if the run happens, and I could see picks 25 through 40 being very weird because of, I think there's like we said, if there's 15 to 20 first rounders, I think there's like 60 guys in the next bucket of players.
Draft.
It is. But the day two is so rich. I feel like that you can move those guys anywhere around. And Adebawore is one of those guys that if a team likes him, because maybe a run on defensive tackles happen or just the freak athletes that pass rushers tend to be, and he is, yeah, I could see him going between 25 and 40.
Yeah, his arm length too. Like everything about him is like if there wasn't Cansey in this class, I feel like he would be our biggest man crush.
He's just so raw. Like even the flashes are insane, but you're like waiting 20 plays to see it again, and then you see it again. You're like, oh, and then it disappears.
Well, Cansey's a little like he's not great in the run game and stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah, the other thing you missed, Dale, we were talking about Gibbs potentially at 28.
28. Well, that's what somebody said. If
I'd
he's
be
there at
so
60, I was like, I would run to the freaking podium.
I would
he's
trade
not
up.
going to make it to 60.
If he was there at 45, I'd consider trading up.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
be with that too because he's so like he would be running back one if it wasn't a Saquon in this class, which that's what I consider.
Yeah.
Bijan.
Bijan
So-
as.
It seems to me like, and I hate to bring this up, but pre-Foster Moreau's issues
Sorry,
that he's
there's
having
some
right
stuff.
now,
Hodgkin's
it seems
lymphoma,
like they
which
were
prayers
kind of
up.
yeah, absolutely. Prayers up for a speedy recovery. But it seems like they were kind of in that train there, and that they just kind of lost out. Could you see? I don't even know how to transition this, but could you see Cody Ford being their potential day one starter at right tackle?
What
and then
the
if he is, and then because they're having to address all these other areas.
Right. So if they trade Jonah and they're like,
Yeah.
we'll go in the draft and then they don't get a guy, right?
Yeah.
And then they get one in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round that maybe you can't play right away, maybe you can. And they're like, all right, let's go into camp and maybe Jackson Carman and Cody Ford battle it out until Lyle Collins is healthy. Could I see that? Sure. I could definitely see that. Would that be good? No.
Okay,
Honestly,
that's where I was going.
No.
Well,
I would be fucking petrified.
Cody
I'd be
Ford-
looking at our early schedule. I'd be like, all right, do we
But
play
Cody
the
Ford had
Steelers? Do we
worse
play the
grades than
Browns?
Max
Because we're going to get
Sharping.
destroyed.
Cody
Basically,
Ford
I
had
was-
worse
yeah.
grades than Max Sharping, Derek.
Basically, I was saying, could they get by
No.
until LC
No.
came back
No.
with?
Okay. So LC, like if you use like PFF grades, was pretty fucking terrible. And if you use your eyes, he was pretty bad. So
Yeah.
like, yes, could they get by? Of course, because Burrow gets the ball out so fast, because teams can't blitz them, because he just dices them up, because there's so many weapons making big plays and splash plays, and the team is better on the offensive line. So it's not just Lyle Collins. You've upgraded now at left tackle. So could you get by? Yeah, of course you can. But even if Collins comes back,
He had Kappa playing next to him. Collins had Kappa playing next to him.
Yeah,
that's right. But so
I'm
would
just
Ford.
worried. Yeah, I'm
That's
just
what
worried
saying,
because
like,
of
it
all
wasn't-
the needs.
Like, I'm saying those
My-
guys suck at right tackle. We need a good right tackle.
But if you're waiting for Lyle Collins to get healthy and be the savior, he hasn't been healthy in 3 years.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
like now he's coming off a knee injury. Like he's probably going to be worse than last year.
Back spasms and I mean, he's
Hip
always
issues. Yeah.
I'm just trying. I'm a bright sider, so I'm trying to look at the bright side because of all the needs we have. Like if we were to forego the right tackle spot for now,
Best
while
way to do it
addressing-
then is to get a tackle in the first 2 rounds. Fuck tight end, even if Michael Mayer's there, and let the strength of the draft play in your favor, which is tight end probably in the 3rd round, running back in the 4th round. And you just say, okay, in the first 2 rounds, we're going corner, D-line, tackle, whatever it may be. You can get 2 of those 3 in the first 2 rounds. And then you say, all right, fine, whatever one we didn't get. And hopefully one of those is a tackle. And then in rounds 3 and 4, you say, okay, we're getting a tight end and a running back, and we're hoping that we hit those picks.
What are your thoughts on Bergeron from Syracuse? Because that's a guy I see that could be there at 60.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of guys, kind of first round guys, and I don't see him getting to 60. Bergeron's one of the only ones I see getting to 60, but I don't know if he's a right tackle.
Yeah, I don't know either. I actually don't know what he is. He looks like a guard to me mostly. I don't love everything I watch on tape with him. I think he has flashes where he looks like he could potentially be a starter, and then other times where I'm like, I don't know, man. Like before the testing, I was thinking 3rd round, and maybe he'll be all right. He just seems he to me he looked like Jonah Williams, and then he tested really well. So it's like if Jonah Williams was an elite athlete, he'd probably be a much better player. So does Bergeron go higher or than like a DeJuan Jones because of that athleticism? I could see it. We've seen these guys get pushed up plenty of times. Brian O'Neill was supposed to be a 3rd round pick, tested like a freak, ends up going in the top of the 2nd round. Colton Miller, another 6'8" guy. So like not all these 6'8" guys end up testing terribly like a DeJuan Jones does. Sometimes they test really good.
It's like 70-pound difference as well.
That's right. Right. You're right. But Colton Miller may be like a Blake Freeland as well. But Colton Miller actually had worse film. His feet were terrible.
I know. I didn't like it coming out. I'm surprised.
Yeah. And now he's a serviceable starting maybe even above average left tackle in the league. So I think the athleticism matters at tackle a lot. I mean, it's proven it has, and I think those guys could get pushed up.
Well, and like me, I just kind of go off. I still film and I'm learning more about stuff. And I even asked you last year. That's the thing. I seen these guys my draft stuff, but it's like a lot of it. I'm still trying to fine tune it, and I do go to people like Joe because. And I love, that's the thing. I love the conversation with Joe when I can have it, is because I'm like, he knows the shit, and I'm like, okay, and I still don't always have to agree with you, but I'm like, what he says makes sense, and he also is like, go to this site, go to that site, or check out this score or that score, add that in too. Don't forget about that. At the end of the day, it's adding all the stuff up.
Real quick, I just want to say congratulations to my co-host. We have officially made it. Steelers Mark has turned his notifications on for Bengals and Brews, and he's constantly tweeting. When we say something, he's tweeting at us. So I just want to say, hey, we've made it. We have trolls. So
really?
Oh, hey, yeah.
We made it, baby.
Off. Yeah.
Well, hey, speaking of, I want to shout out the Breed person. One of the first things I seen this morning, she hey,
I wonder what he's doing.
The first to wear a mask. I love it.
Well, I was wondering.
Interesting choice of all.
Hey, Pink Rangers, can we see your titties?
Whoa!
Are we at that part of the show? There it is. There it is.
It's turned into After Dark.
Look like a pepperoni.
Not the big pepperonis.
Anyway, yes, thank you to Bree.
Yeah, Bree said we were her favorite podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, are you mistaken?
Did you mean we do? Our symbol does kind of look like Locked On. So maybe she thought
that's what I was thinking. But she screenshotted our stuff and then she liked that I said. It literally made me tear up this way. I'm not going to lie.
I thought she meant Bengals and news.
Nope, screenshot of the logo and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie, and I was like, "Wow, I never thought that would happen."
Yeah,
especially a female listener,
right?
Like,
can you talk in that thing?
In.
You have your AirPods in, don't you?
Oh, he can't hear us. Okay.
Yes.
I was about to say.
There he is.
Yeah, I was about to say, can you even talk in that thing, or
he can't hear us?
We can hear him drinking, though. Can you hear everything? Like,
can you hear us?
He's just laughing.
So the AirPods felt like I couldn't put the helmet on with both AirPods in, so I had to take one out, and then the other one fell out of my ear when I took it off, so I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, that was right. That had to be right. I was going to say, you showed the titty, and he showed the titty. You had to hear that.
Yeah. So, with all this Power Ranger stuff, I do have to ask, because this is one of my favorite characters. Do you have the white Power Rangers knife?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
nice.
You both do. You both have it.
Look at these guys' fucking collections. They can probably.
Wow,
one of them probably has one from the set. That's awesome.
You know what? The batteries.
I'm nerding out right now for sure.
Oh, you got yours first.
Oh, I'm definitely nerding out right now.
Watch this.
So cool. That is beautiful. Oh, and the Green Rangers.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Oh, nice.
It's die-cast metal, like this whole headpiece.
Oh.
How awesome is that?
That's awesome.
Out of 10.
The coolest toy I ever saw.
Dale, we want to know your
I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
Yeah, it is.
The coolest toy I ever saw you share, Joe, was that fucking Iron Man helmet.
Oh, I know.
It's got like the fucking helmet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the faceplate that.
Oh,
Go get it. Go get it. It's so fucking sweet. Have you guys seen it?
Well, then we also had Glenn with his Darth Vader thing was pretty fucking cool as well.
It's morphin' time. I cannot find mine anymore. I had one of those as a kid too, and I do not know where that went.
A
Yeah,
vibrator.
Green Ranger. Green
Brownie
Ranger
said
was
vi-
one of my
Well,
favorites.
speaking of vibrators, I will tell you about vibrators. That damn Rose thing. My wife loves the Rose, so I'm
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
get her to buy me the Melrose, and that thing looks all right. Yep.
Is this an
Am I
ad?
the-
Sorry. What?
Is this
I
an
don't
ad?
worry.
Look at Joe's casting couch. Why is it?
He does have a casting couch. Glenn, how many times have you sat on that casting couch? To be fair.
That couch is new.
Oh,
I have
no.
yet to sit on it.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a new
no.
couch. I was gonna say you guys have
Yep.
sat in that room before.
Speaking of,
Picture I
what's-
edited a photo one time of the casting room and the casting couch. I'm wearing one of Joe's shirts, and I put Joe's logo up on like in the picture on there, and like when he bought this couch, he posted it on Twitter, and I said, "I'm sitting in here waiting for you," and it was a picture of me on the casting couch. It was hilarious.
Oh, I love that. That was great.
Awesome.
Oh man, I love that. And speaking of the casting couch, what can somebody explain the whole Lamar Jackson and the porn star, like where all that came from?
He's a rich athlete. I don't know.
So Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent. You know, he represents himself. But there was supposedly this guy running
Oh, here it
around
is.
calling NFL. Oh, this is awesome. Sorry, we're gonna pause.
Oh,
this.
yep.
Let me see it.
He's
That's
gonna
so
do the
fucking
thing.
dope.
How awesome is that? I can't hear you
That
guys.
is so fucking dope. It's awesome.
All I gotta know
Fire.
is if my son sees that, I'm gonna have to spend a lot of money.
That's so sick. I know. I
Dude,
think I
like,
Just kidding. That's for me.
yeah.
how much-
They're not cheap.
how
But
much-
yeah,
I was gonna say, how much did that
They're like-
cost? Glenn probably knows.
they're not
so.
cheap.
They're like $300 and something, I think.
I am not at liberty to say.
Yeah.
That's fucking.
I'm
dope,
just
though.
saying because I've looked them up before.
Over
They're definitely
under $500.
Under.
Yeah,
What
I
do
think
we-
they're under? Talking about how much
They're
that
wondering.
that
They're
helmet
wondering
was.
how much that helmet
much-
was.
How much does it cost to be on the casting couch? Is what we're trying to figure out.
This is a nice couch. This couch,
my
it's got plugs in it and stuff and cup holders.
Oh God! What kind of plugs, bud? Plugs? He kind of set me up for that.
Oh yes, he did. Oh, I love it.
Good one.
Right in the seat.
God.
But no, the Iron Man.
And with that,
the Iron Man helmet over under $500.
yeah, I think that's probably the right range, to be honest. Price is right.
Derek was
Ding,
saying
ding, ding.
under 300. Derek,
I mean, I didn't
I
buy
was
it.
thinking around 300 was.
I didn't buy it. It was given to me. Yeah.
hey
Nice.
Chewy.
That's sweet.
I love the helmets. All I
You
have
got,
is
the,
this.
you got a hairy asshole to match that face, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna make.
Glenn
you-
scares his dogs with that one. He chases the dogs.
I love
Actually,
it.
he's coming in the room right now because he hears it.
He heard it. Oh man.
Well, I think that's
Is that the cue? Is that the cue to go?
Yeah, I was going to say
That's fair.
if I go
Been
if I
over
go
an hour and a
any
half.
longer, I will probably be divorced. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you guys
Like
for,
you
for giving
matter.
us so
I
much
mean,
time.
Joe Goodberry's he could have made like $8 million tonight. Instead, he made $0 million here with us.
Yep. Unpaid.
hey,
Shoot the shit with us.
absolutely, Joe, Glenn, we appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, shout out everything.
I'm
you
scared
got
for
going
that dog with Glenn with that mask on, holding the dog. I'm scared for the dog.
So that's
Sir.
why the dog came in because he heard the mask. And if we got Star Wars on the TV and Chewbacca's going, he starts going berserk also.
It's just dude.
Oh, I love that.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
real quick.
Plug your stuff, or Glenn, you could just plug Joe's stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna
if
say
you
Glenn's
want.
his agent.
what are we plugging?
Yeah, follow Joe on Twitter
Plug him
at Joe
stuff.
Goodberry. Subscribe to his
All the
Twitter. It's cheaper than getting fake verified, which I pay for also. And it comes with a lot more opportunity. And prepare yourself for the draft this upcoming off season in the summer. And then be there before anybody else does when the regular season comes around, before the Bengals go 14-3. you'll be there and you'll be one of the OG fans.
What about your personal Twitter at least?
Mine?
Yeah.
You'll find me. I'll be in there somewhere.
Fuck, nobody cares about mine. You'll find me.
I'll stop Glenn's. Glenn, what's your handle on Twitter?
Are you kidding me?
He doesn't even fucking know. I know it is.
Here's
It's like
Glenn.
Goodberry.
Here's Glenn. Here's Joe. All this love. All of this. He knows.
Like, oh, Glenn, are you even on fucking Twitter?
Yeah.
Glenn, you got a Twitter? What's yours?
Glenn's over there like, listen, his phone number is 1-800-CALL-GOODBERRY and has all these stats. And then Joe's over there like, what?
Yeah. At Glenn Goodberry 4, Goodberry variant. You can follow me for all your
Pizza.
all your pizza,
Wings.
food, wings, and Bills fan stuff. But I also tweet, like I said, Bengals stuff. And people are actually pretty receptive to a Bills fan. I think it's the Goodberry name. But when I got something to say about the Bengals, people have said stuff to me, and then Bengal fans like jump on them. I'm like, no. This is Goodberry's all right. So that's cool.
Well, you're all right. You're more than all right to me, brother. I love you. We're like the same age. You
come after Glenn, you're coming after family.
I fuck with you, Glenn. Ride or die.
Love you
Fuck
guys.
with you, Dale.
Always.
Yeah.
And
Nobody
Joe,
disrespect family.
Joe's got his Twitter handle up there too, guys. Hude Joseph.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Joe Goodberry. Well, Glenn already plugged it, but you want to plug it again?
He is
Nah.
not your average Joe.
All right.
there.
Derek,
Follow
you
Joe
want to say anything fucking stupid before we go?
I'm about to plug my wife.
Who they, baby? Let's go! It's time! Cincinnati, we gon' rise and up. In the jungle, we unite and up. Trippin' orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move rockin' on? Now who wanna move tossing on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes, then you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got 'em. Yeah, we fought 'em.